lots of people starting to think about the Easter bank holiday and what the weather has in store. Now, it is looking like the beginning of next week, it will start to become a little bit drier, a little bit warmer, but by the time we get to the Easter bank holiday, low pressure is set to dominate across more northern areas, at least for a time. As we head into the start of the Easter holidays, it could start to become more settled across more southern areas. So a bit of a mixed picture throughout the next 2 weeks or so. This is the most likely pressure pattern. So you can see that through the middle of next week, we start to see high pressure becoming more centred across the UK. Warmer weather dominating, but it only lasts a few days because the blues return from the bank holiday weekend, becoming more dominant across much of the UK, but particularly across northern areas. And then from Monday, the 6th of April onwards, the bank holiday Monday, well, it does look like we could start to see that high pressure dominating, but predominantly across more southern areas. Let's look at those pressure patterns in a bit more detail. So the most likely pressure patterns by the start of the Easter weekend is for high pressure to be to the south of the UK, across much of Europe, and for low pressure to be situated up to the northwest of the UK. So that means for more southern areas, you could be holding on to that dry weather for the bank holiday Friday of the Easter weekend. For northern areas, you're more likely to see that low pressure dominating, bringing westerly winds, potentially some quite strong winds as well for northern areas throughout the bank holiday. And then as the weekend goes on, that low pressure becomes more likely. We've got low pressure up to, as the most likely scenario, up to the north of the UK, with high pressure still situated down to the north. This would bring in westerly winds, not a particularly cold direction, but also not a particularly warm direction, and a wet direction too. So we could see some fairly persistent rain and some strong winds, at least through the middle part. The Saturday, Sunday period is looking like the most likely to be more unsettled through that bank holiday weekend. Now, as we head towards the Sunday and then the Monday, well, high pressure could move in from the south. So for southern areas and eastern areas of England in particular, that's where we're most likely to see any drier weather. And it looks like for much of the Easter holidays, we'll be situated between that high pressure and low pressure. Let's look at that in another way. So this is the weekly anomaly, the mean anomaly for the pressure throughout the whole week from the 6th of April until the 13th of April. So high pressure is most likely to be dominant across parts of Europe and to the east of the UK. Low pressure still up towards Iceland, up to the northwest of the UK. And that means that we would have a southwesterly direction, which is a relatively mild direction. So it isn't going to be particularly cold throughout that Easter week. It's unlikely to be, but it's not going to be particularly dry for the vast majority of the UK, particularly across more northern areas. I think you're most likely to get that warmer, dry weather in the south and east, which is quite similar to the average setup for this time of year. And that's about as much as we can say for the Easter week at the moment, because it is a week away still, so there's still some uncertainties. This is the most likely scenario, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a complete washout through the whole weekend. Looks like there could be a few transitions throughout the weekend, but unfortunately there isn't a strong signal for a long-lived sunny spell throughout Easter. As I said, the temperatures are not set to be particularly cold throughout the Easter weekend and beyond. This is the ensemble output of the temperatures through the week, and you can see that through the next 2 weeks, and you can see the trend here. So if I just move around the country, this is somewhere close to the Midlands. This is the temperature by day and by night. So you can see the lines going up and down, showing the warmer days and colder nights. Now, there's a couple of things to notice here. The general trend is for daytime temperatures to increase, which is what you would expect going into April. We've got much more strength of the sunshine, longer days as well. But there's also still some quite chilly nights on the cards, and particularly if we do have high pressure around at night, that could make for some colder, potentially some frostier nights as well. So we're not out of the woods yet with regards to colder, frostier nights, but it should get a little bit warmer by the day, particularly on any of those sunnier days. And the trend is pretty similar across the country. Obviously, temperatures across more southern areas will increase higher as we head into April, and it won't get quite as warm across more northern areas. So still quite a lot to play for the Easter holiday. It's definitely a weekend that you're going to want to keep an eye on the forecast and make sure you arrange your plans around the weather. So one to keep a close eye on, I think.